Good morning. Good morning to everybody in the room. Good morning to everybody in virtual land on YouTube, Facebook, and Zoom. And before we get started, if you're having any sound issues on Facebook, that is most likely due to internet stuff that is beyond my control. So if you go to our YouTube feed, Sierra Spiritual on YouTube, that is the direct feed from the center, and it is usually pristine. So that's an option for you. Okay, so we're going to get started right off the bat with our first two community songs. Here we go.
Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Walking, talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Walking, talking with my mind, stayed on spirit. Walking, talking with my mind, stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. You can't hate your neighbor, you can't hate your neighbor in your mind. Stayed on spirit. You can't hate your neighbor in your mind. Stayed on spirit. Neighbor in mind, stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. You love everybody in mind. Stayed on spirit. Love everybody in your heart. Stayed on spirit. Love everybody in your heart. Stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. All right. Good morning. Are we awake now? New song here. Let's see if we can get it. 1, 2, 3. Be that we agree to live in harmony. Set aside all that we fight for the sake of humanity. Would you say yes? Yes, yes, yes. Meet on common ground, plant a tree and spread the roots of love all around. Would you say yes? Yes, yes, yes. Come on, everybody, sing with me. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. If you believe in your things, say yes, yes, yes. If you believe like I believe, we can make a better world. Listen to each other, tell every voice to turn. Yes, 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 yes. What would you say if we find a way to end all poverty? So all and live with dignity from sea Would you say yes? Come on, everybody, sing with me. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. If you believe in your thing, just say yes, yes, yes. Come on, everybody, sing with me. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. If you believe in your thing, just say yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes. If you believe, say yes, yes, yes.
Candles. I could have to check in and find a candle lighter this morning. So my name is Reverend Rafe Ellis, and I am honored and privileged to be the senior minister here at Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. It is my privilege to welcome some new faces. Hello, hello. To welcome all of you on YouTube, Zoom, and Facebook, and to share with you, and remind us of who we are and what we're about. We are a radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, supportive community that celebrates the diversity of creation. We strive to live authentic spiritual lives through a practical application of the teachings of science of mind. We engage in spiritual practices that uplift our spirit, deepen our awareness, and ignite our soul's self-expression. We demonstrate active compassion to ourselves, each other, and the world. We experience meaningful contribution through giving generously of our time, talents, and treasures, and we intentionally promote our community and our teachings. And one of the things that we do every Sunday morning to put our inclusivity into action is our candle lighting ritual. And we light these candles to celebrate the unity of all people, all faiths, all beings, all life. We light the first candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples. We light the second candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the third candle for Taoism, honoring the path of ultimate reality, the natural way. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the middle way and path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the teachings of Jesus as the path of love, forgiveness, and healing by the presence within. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought teachings, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles of love and law. And we light the 10th candle for absolute inclusivity, affirming that all are welcome and celebrated here. And we light this final candle, honoring the infinity of oneness as all creation, seen and unseen. And now, I'm going to turn it back over to the musicians for our next community song.
Y'all know the Staple Singers? This is an old gospel tune that they did. God got a new way of walking, new way of talking. Since the love and spirit took control, I got a new way of saying, new way of praying. Thank God I got a newborn soul. I got a newborn soul, newborn soul. Since the love and spirit took control, I got a newborn soul, newborn soul. Since the comforter made me whole, my hands look new, my feet did too. My head got wet in the midnight dew, but oh, all I know made me whole. Thank God I got a newborn soul. I got a new way of preaching, new way of teaching. Since the love and spirit took control, the souls are in new beginning. Thank God I got a newborn soul. I got a newborn soul, newborn soul. Since the love and spirit took control, I got a newborn soul, newborn soul. Since the comfort made me whole, my hands look new, my feet did too. My head got wet in the midnight dew, but all I know made me whole. Thank God I got a newborn soul. I got a newborn soul, a newborn soul. Since the love and spirit took control, I got a newborn soul, a newborn soul. Thank God I got a newborn soul.
It's a good thing we have a small sanctuary. So I don't have to do long distance running between here and the live stream. So this is our time of announcements. And we've got a couple. The most obvious one is that we're open. And those of you in the room know that. And those of you out there that are local, we're here. Come on. And you can even wear your pajamas. So if you're attached to watching it in your pajamas, wear your pajamas. I don't care. I'm pretty sure God doesn't care. Because pajamas are a divine idea in the mind of God, right? So we have a system that we're using so that we can all communicate with each other without having the same redundant conversation a gazillion times. So if you want folks to stay 6 feet away from you and still wear a mask while they interact with you, you can wear a red strand of beads, and that communicates that. If you're figuring it out one person at a time, you can wear a yellow strand of beads, and that says, please communicate with me before you get too close. If you're good with close contact, if you're good with handshakes, with hugs, you can wear a green strand of beads, and that communicates that. We have seat savers as you come in the door. If you want to create a safe space on either side of yourself, you can grab a couple of those, put them on either chair beside you. That communicates, this is my zone. You're welcome over here, but not right here. It's been suggested that even after we no longer need it for a virus, that perhaps we keep this communication system, because some folks just generally want to communicate, because you ever have those folks when you're not a hugger and they just come up and grab you? It's like, so maybe we'll keep it. I don't know. We got a couple of things going on, and I'm going to let Juanita advance it because I don't know what order they're in. Okay, go the opposite direction. There we go. Gary Lynn Floyd and Karen Drucker are doing a workshop, Presence, Passion, and Purpose. That's happening up at the Ananda Center, and that is happening Friday, April 29th through Sunday, May 1st. If you're interested in that, you can find out more information by going to either of their websites, KarenDrucker.com or GaryLynnFloyd.com. I got to see Gary Lynn Floyd yesterday. He said, "Tell everybody, hey," in his beautiful little southern accent. What do we got next? Walking with the Rev. This is turning out to be a delightful thing. So from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm over at Wolf Creek. We meet at the parking lot there at the North Star Museum, the one right above the museum. If you're interested in just hanging out, walking, here's how it goes. We start at 10 o'clock. We walk until my watch says it's 10:30, and then we turn around and walk back to our vehicles. We go as fast as the slowest person in the group, because that's how inclusivity and community works. It's not a race. It's not a fitness boot camp. It's just a time to connect and hang out and have conversation or walk in silence. It can go however it goes. There's been some concern expressed because sometimes I do a Facebook Live. I only do Facebook Live if I'm there by myself. If anyone is there with me, I promise you will not be subjected to Facebook Live. You are safe. Crossword puzzles, a new way to learn. I created 45 crossword puzzles using the Science of Mind glossary in the Science of Mind, a philosophy of faith, a way of life. You can purchase one puzzle, or you can purchase the 22 puzzles that are done by each letter of the alphabet, or you can purchase the 23 puzzles that are random, or you can purchase the whole set. There are different pricings. The link to do that is on our website and in the newsletter. It's through our Square store. The individual puzzles are priced at 10 cents a word. High dollar stuff going on here. So I encourage you to check those out if you're interested. We're also using those as thank you gifts. We've had some donations from folks outside the community, and so when we get a sizable donation, we send them the whole packet. It's also practicing the spiritual principle of reciprocity, because other centers are actually purchasing the whole set and using them in their teachings, in their classes as an adjunct, and encouraging their students to purchase them. When they do, we're asking them to let us know in the checkout box at the end what center they're with, and we will tithe 10% of their purchase back to their home center, because reciprocity is how all this works. So it looks just like, a fun bank of puzzles. It's a whole lot more going on. So those there. Okay. So if you were here, was it last week they were here? I lose track of time. So last week, Love Eternal was here. So we got to talking after everybody left. They're coming back. We're going to build on the momentum. They're coming back the fourth Sunday of April, and then they're going to be our First Friday Fun event. They do a sit-down concert, spoken word, spiritual message thing, and then that will be followed by a dance. So if you're interested in that, it's, Spirit shows up in a lot of different ways, and we're going to figure out and explore and be open to all of them. And so May 6th, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., same as last Friday. If you want to bring your dinner, bring your dinner. We've got some snacks and some sparkling water here for sale. We will set it up to where there's some tables, and then after everything's done, we will quickly clear out some chairs so that folks can dance that want to dance, and folks that want to sit and watch people dance, they can do that too. So we'll figure it out. Okay. That's all with the announcements. So let me add one quick one. We have the Science of Mind magazine, and we're gradually rebuilding our service teams. So right now we don't have a bookstore team. But what we do have is the brilliance of Juanita Bratton, who figured out to make a QR code So if you're interested in purchasing this month's Science of Mind magazine, they're right over there in a little display rack. The QR code is right on the front of that. You just snap a photo of it and it takes you right there where you can purchase it online. If you need help with that after service, not during service, but after service, Juanita will be happy to help you with that. We're going to get into the 21st century technology. It's the kitchen and the phone. The kitchen and the phone, yes. It will stop ringing. It is likely somebody experiencing some technical thing online and they're calling to tell us about it because, we answer the phone during Sunday service. Not. Okay, change gears. Let's take a breath. So this is our time of inward connection. Bless you. And this morning, my topic, I believe, is community, yes? Yeah. Let's take another breath. This is not what I had planned to say this morning, but it's what I'm going to say. At 2:30 this morning on K Street in Sacramento, there was a mass shooting. 16 people were shot. 6 are dead. 10 are fighting for their life. Now, it would be easy and convenient to separate ourselves that that's not my community. That's all the way down the hill in Sacramento. But if we understand community, we understand that it has no boundaries, that we are one community, that we are one family. What I know is that everything I feel is spirit expressing in this human body. And so I encourage us to feel, to let yourself feel, and to know that no matter what it looks like, God hasn't gone anywhere. That in the moment that all of this transpired, and in the moment that everything transpired, love was fully present, desperately unrecognized, but fully present. That community is impacted at different levels based on proximity. That's fair. But it doesn't mean we're not all impacted. And so allow yourself to just be aware of how you're impacted. Allow yourself, as we go into meditation, to imagine that love is the predominant force in every aspect of community. Not my community, not your community, not this community. Community. That love is how we commune with one another. That love drives our relationships. That love heals whatever was operating at 2:30 in the morning. I'll bring us out of the meditation. I'm going to ask the musicians to come and do our bridge song. And I'll take us out of the meditation at the end with our opening prayer.
In this very room, there's quite enough love for one like me. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for one like me. And there's quite enough hope and quite enough power to chase away any gloom.
one infinite, ever-present, allness, infinite, whole, perfect, complete within itself. Infinite intelligence, infinite abundance, infinite creativity, infinite love. One breath, life itself, breathing all life. One mind, one heart, one soul. I am made out of it, by it, to be it. Fully infused with all that it is. And what is true of me is true of all life. And so in this truth, there is no place where it fails to be. Its power, its presence is everywhere present. It is without barrier. It is not contained in time and space. And so I know that it is that breathes me, that thinks my thoughts, that dreams my dreams, that is every moment of this thing I call my life unfolding. And in the truth of oneness, it must be the truth of all life. And so I speak my word this morning, claiming and affirming, reminding myself of what has always been true. Speaking into being an awareness of this divinity, of this birthright, of the very makeup of humanity and all that we are in kinship with, all nature, all life. An awareness of the love that is at the very center of our being. And that as our awareness of love expands, everything unlike it is transformed. So love is the order of life, that harmonious operation of one in which there is no division, no separation, that creative power of one. Thoughts become things. Things become experience. All the perfect life unfolding. I speak a word of compassion for all of life impacted by the events of the early morning, by all the impact of events that are outside my human awareness happening in this moment. That even in the midst of chaos, there is a recognition of peace. There is an experience of peace because love is always present, and love is the greatest power there is. I speak a word of gratitude. A word of gratitude for Sierra Center. A word of gratitude for Grass Valley. A word of gratitude for Nevada City. For Nevada County. For all of California. For all of the United States. For all of the world. Because I recognize it is the creation of the infinite. Grateful. Grateful that the word spoken is the word made manifest, and so I can let go, trusting that it is being made manifest always, right now. And so I let go. I let it be. And I release by saying, and so it is. So this is our time of affirmation. I'm going to say it once and then invite you to say it with me. I know myself as Spirit knows me. Creative, unique, wonderful. Let's say that together. I know myself as Spirit knows me. Creative, unique, and wonderful.
A little 60s flashback. Here's a little song you can all join in with. It's very simple and I hope it's new. Make your own words up if you want to. Any old words that you think will do, yeah. Yellow, blue, what'll I do? Maybe I'll just sit here thinking. Black, white, stop the fight. Does one of these colors ever bother you? Here's a little dance you can all join in with. It's very simple and I hope it's new. Make your own steps up if you want to. Any old steps that you think will do, yeah. Here's a little world you can all join in with. It's very simple and I hope it's new. Make your own life up if you want to. Any old life that you think will do, yeah. Love, yeah, nothing new. There's someone much worse than you are. Help me set them free. Just be what you want to be, yeah. Here's a little song you can all join in with. It's very simple and I hope it's new. Make your own words up if you want to. Any old words that you think will do, yeah. Any old words that you think will do.
Let's take a breath together. It's one of those mornings. There's 11 pages of a written sermon over there that is going to stay right over there. And we're going to talk about saying yes to the yes. And we're going to talk real talk about how, sometimes, if not most times, feels like there's two of you in there having the conversations where you know something is yours to do and you don't want to do it. Anybody else have that? Maybe it's just me, right? Where something that you can't even explain is nudging you to do something that quite literally seems profoundly insane. Yeah? That is most likely the calling of your spirit, seeking expression. Because when it doesn't make sense to our humanness, that means it's bigger than us. and those things that are bigger than us is the divinity within us. Life by definition, aliveness, life is always seeking expression. Look at the cycle of life in nature, right? There's a seed. And everything that we're going to experience as the full-grown plant is already fully present in that tiny little seed. You can't see it yet, right? You don't look at the seed of a plant. I mean, tomato seeds, tiny little things. But when you look at it, you don't see a salad, but it's in there. Right? Lettuce seeds are even smaller. But when you look at the seed, you don't see a salad, but it's right there in the palm of your hand before it's placed in the ground. And when you plant those seeds, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say none of you plant them. Build your little rows, put your seeds in, cover them all up. Wait, let me check. Who does that? Nobody. How many times have you gone out and reopened all of the rows in your garden every couple of days just to see if it's growing? No. And the reason you don't is because you know if you do that, you're going to kill it. That it's not going to grow. If you mess with it every day, it's not going to grow. Now, a couple of things. It doesn't make the seed less viable. The seed was perfectly viable. It contained everything it was supposed to contain. The problem isn't the seed. The problem isn't the soil. The problem is doubt. The problem is instead of saying yes to the seed, we keep saying yes to all of our doubts. Because here's the good news and the bad news. No has no operation in you. The only operation of creation is yes. So this idea of saying yes to yes is because yes is all that's available. I hate to tell you, but there's no option. There's zero option to turn off the creative process. And yet there is every option to choose. To consciously, intentionally choose what you say yes to. Now, many of us here on planet Earth are so deeply entrenched in unconscious codependency that most of us find an odd contentment in sacrificing our lives to say yes to someone else without realizing that the self is where the biggest yes is offered. I'll sacrifice for my family. And I'll pretend like I'm saying yes to them. And I'll never own that what I'm really saying yes to is a belief system held deeply within me that says I am more valuable when I sacrifice. I am more noble when I sacrifice. I'm being a better man when I sacrifice. If you don't pray, here's the simplest spiritual mind treatment I can give you. And I'm just going to tell you it borders on slightly inappropriate, which surprises no one ever that knows me. So if you're not big on prayer, and you want to change your thinking, take a pen, walk into your bathroom, pull off some toilet paper, and write all your crappy thinking that you're aware of on that piece of toilet paper. Wad it up, drop it in, pull the prayer lever, and let that shit go. Seriously, people, this does not have to be complicated. Right? But how many of us won't even pray because we're saying, yes, I would like to pray, but I'm not a practitioner. Who cares? Ernest Holmes said this: anyone who practices the teachings of science of mind is a practitioner. There's a difference between a licensed practitioner and a practitioner. So now you have a really convenient, streamlined way to pray. Right? Prayer is about shifting your consciousness. It's about shifting your awareness. And it does no good to say yes to a new thought if all you're doing is putting it on top of old ones. Doesn't work. Because the thought that is going to continue to operate is the deeply held, unquestioned thought, because that's where your faith is. Faith is the belief in things unseen but hoped for. Faith is that place where our belief is so unshakable, we don't even think about it anymore. We just believe it unquestioned. That's what we're saying yes to all the time. And so it behooves us to get conscious, to get aware, to take responsibility, to say yes to springtime, right? When was the last time you double digged your garden? Double digging isn't easy. You take off the first layer and you set it over here. And then you dig deeper, another layer, and you set that off to the side. And then you dig this up and put it here, and dig this up and put it here. And you keep going until your whole garden is pristine, and all of the weeds are out, and all of the little root hairs to the weeds are out, and the soil is really fine and receptive. Double dig your thoughts. Double dig your belief systems. You will be amazed at what you find lurking underneath that soil that you think is what you think. Ministerial school, one of our professors pointed out that most of our thinking isn't thinking at all. It's just noisy thoughts about actual thought. Right? It's static to keep us from our thoughts. Because here's the thing. I ain't going to lie to you. When you get under the surface, when you meet your belief system face to face, it may not be fun. You may not like what you unearth. So what? You didn't put it there. But see, our tendency is to polarize within ourselves. And then we extrapolate that polarization out into society. Somebody has to be right. Somebody has to be wrong. If I feel like a victim, I got to have a villain. Right? And so when I unearth thoughts that, ew, that's not my thought. Well, yes, it is. If it's in your soil, it's your thought. Who cares who put it there? It's yours. Right? When you're digging your garden and you find a rock, do you look around at your neighbor's house and go, this is one of their rocks? Who, let me give it to you? No. It's in your garden. It's your rock. You get to choose what you're going to do with it. Please don't throw it at your neighbor. And please don't throw your thoughts at your neighbor. Quit blaming. Because all blame does is excuse our creative authority to transform it. Within you is everything you need to transform every thought and belief that you don't want, that no longer serves you. And there are thoughts and patterns of behavior that at one point did serve you and served you well, and now not so much. Right? It's like we buy a vehicle and it works until it doesn't. And most of us, and I say most of us because I'm from the South, most of us trade that vehicle in. Some of us not so much. Some of us put it up on blocks and keep it for what reason, I'm not sure. But we do. I live in the land of hillbillies. We've been guilty of that. But you don't keep it. It no longer serves you. And so you move it on and get a new one. Your thoughts are the same way. If it no longer serves you, move it on and get a new one. We are a new thought faith tradition. We are a new thought philosophy. I dare you to have one. I dare you. But I'll tell you this. If you don't want to grow, don't have any new thoughts. If you don't want your life to improve, don't have any new thoughts. If you don't want peace on earth, do not have a new thought. Because all of those will contribute to life unfolding its creative brilliance. All of those are yeses to love. All of those are yeses to life. So I'm going to wrap up with this. Let's demystify this yes. Right? Because we can make it so big that we make our creative birthright unattainable. We put it out of reach. How convenient. How convenient. Every breath you take is a yes to something. Pay attention. Choose wisely. And own your choices. And if it isn't what you want, choose again. It's that simple. Choose again. Let's take this into prayer. And so with this breath, I recognize that the one is still the one. The infinite is still the infinite. That life is still unfolding life. It has been doing it even before the beginning of time. Time, a thought born out of it. It has always been. It is now. And it is into eternity. It is what I am. It is whose I am. It is the very nature, the very essence, the very creativity. It is the very yes that we see as humanity. Humanity, a brilliant yes to a divine idea in the mind and heart of creation. Each individualized expression, an intentional, purposeful, never to be repeated, divine smile in the heart of the infinite, unfolding itself with every breath, with every yes. And so I speak my word, claiming and affirming that we choose, that we consciously choose our yes from the wholeness, from the truth, from the harmonious operation of one. That this is the heart of creation moving itself into being. That we say yes to respecting one another. We say yes to laying down bombs and arms. We say yes to coming together, to building bridges, to filling in the gaps that separate us with love. We say yes. Yes to saying the unpopular truth. Yes to standing in the truth of who we are, no matter what. Yes to releasing everything that no longer serves. Yes to having a new thought. Yes to being more than we ever believed we could be. Yes. Yes. Yes to that infinite nudge to create, to blossom, knowing that we are the seed of the infinite and that everything that we are to be was fully contained in the seed at the moment of conception. Yes. 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 And so feeling the gratitude infuse every fiber of my being. I know I am complete. I know it is done. And so I celebrate. Before I see the evidence, I celebrate the certainty, the assuredness that it is done. And I invite you to join me as we say together, and so it is. My Pentecostal roots got a hold of me there in a little bit. I'm all right with that. Changing gears. This is our time of conscious giving. Let's take a breath. We are supporting through our own contributions. And so I ask that you consider giving in accord with how you have received today. Let's say our prosperity affirmation together. I give this gift with love and joy from a consciousness of abundance. Divine love blesses and prospers all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Usher, please receive the gifts.
One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Thanks and praise to the world, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. It's your cry. One love, it's your cry. One heart. Thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright.
And so I speak a word of blessing, a word of gratitude, a word of acknowledgement that this is the divine expressing itself as money. That we give through Sierra Center for Spiritual Living to do good work in the world. And so it is. So one of the things I want to make the community aware of, we typically have 12 501c3 private, community-based nonprofit partners every year that we give a portion, because we're a tithing community. We ask people to tithe, we tithe. It's that reciprocity thing. And Centers for Spiritual Living has a ministry in the Ukraine. There have been practitioners and assistants that have driven as far as they could until their vehicle didn't work anymore, and then got out and walked with their young children to Poland. And so the board joined me, and we decided to give January and February community tithes to the ministry in Ukraine. Reverend Dr. Barbara Lejour sends her gratitude. I am 100% confident that every dime of that money will go directly to help where we physically cannot. She is in direct communication with folks every day. And we're going to try to put together a thing where she can join us via Zoom after service to let folks know what's happening, or maybe even a special Zoom event. We're not sure yet. But she's making herself available to us. She also does, and I'll put this in the newsletter, every Friday she does a peace Zoom talk meditation thing as part of that ministry. I will say this, and then I'm going to wrap up. What's happening in Ukraine is an amazing yes. If you need an example of how to move from being victimized without becoming a victim, Ukraine is the example. Because they are being victimized. Make no mistake about it. And they are showing up with this empowered yes to life that says, I refuse to be a victim. They give me hope in a place where I didn't even know hope could live. And they call me to be a better me in walking my talk. We don't have to be a victim. Doesn't mean we're not victimized. How do we show up in response? Okay. I really do need to stop, or I'll just really turn into my Pentecostal roots and keep you here till tomorrow. It can happen. All right. Want to welcome Don Sheely on the bass. Yes. I love it, I love it, I love it. Thank you, Julie Chiarelli, for being our drummer. Thank you, Jeff, for being the dude in charge of all this. Thank you, Valerie, one of our new board members and one of our vocalists. Thank you, Juanita, for being a vocalist and the live streamer and the all-around keep up with the Rev and make sure he don't look stupid person. Thank you. We have this form over there. It's called Conscious Communication, and it just gives you an opportunity to share feedback with us. If you have something you want us to know about, something that isn't happening that you want to see happening, something that is happening that you want us to stop. This is the form you do that. They come directly to me. Just put them in that little black box with the lock on it. We also have prayer request forms. You do not have to walk this walk alone. If there's something that myself, the other ministers, and the licensed practitioners can hold in prayer for you, this is your option. There's also an option on our website. Fill it out. The ones on the website come directly to me, only to me, and then I move them on to the practitioners and ministers unless you tell me not to. And if you don't, then it just stays with me because confidentiality is a sacred, sacred thing. Again, we have the magazines over there. We got lots going on. If you don't already get our newsletter, simplest way to get on the email list now for the newsletter is to go to our website, www.sierracenter.org. A little pop-up window is right there for you to fill out, and we will get the newsletter to you. It comes out later this afternoon. I think that's it. Did I miss anything? Okay. We have a check with the boss. No, I did not. Thank you. Thank you, Hillary, for being our PowerPoint person. And thank you, Judy, for being our greeter this morning. And thank you, Jill, for our beautiful orchids. You grow these yourself? Yes. Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. It's just stunning. Just stunning. Thank you. Let's stand and do our benediction. Something wonderful is happening as me right now. It is this thing called life. It is this thing called creativity. It is this thing called yes. I know it. I feel it. I sense it. Got to say it like you mean it. Because I am it. And so it is. Musicians, sing.